Welcome guys, this is the Steel Mindset. My name is Joe Steel. This is a VR to Scab from Choir Boys. Now he had put out a video as far as what is your perfect knife, I think was exactly the premise. Now a perfect knife is obviously subjectional. Everyone has their own interpretation of what a perfect knife is. It's also a perfect knife maybe for camping or a perfect knife to carry every day. There's a couple different variables, but in general, if we're gonna generalize, I wanted to kind of add my own input as far as what I perceive as being a perfect knife. I also wanted to chime in on a blade talk with Scab and Joe that just happened at the airing of this video yesterday. We had Daniel on from 401 Outdoors and I was so impressed. Now again, we're going to have the same sentiments between Scab and I on our videos because we both were sitting and hosting the show with him, and I was just so impressed at how strong-minded and strong-willed he is and how knowledgeable he is in terms of self-defense. So we were left with that blade talk basically having a different opinion of not only what a perfect knife should be, but also having the skill set of working with the knife or using the knife is actually the most important thing before you get a knife in your hand, is having a skill set and having knowledge as far as how to use the knife in the proper manner, depending on what you're doing, whether you're self-defense or you're using it for camping or for as a tool for which most of us use outdoor camping or bushcrafting or anything of that nature. So having that skill set is very important before you can decide which would be your perfect knife. But let's have a little fun with this one, guys. So my perfect knife, and being that it's Work Tuff Gear Wednesday, we're going to be showing you a lot of Work Tuff Gear knives. So I'm going to break it down. Again, this is my opinion. 3 points for me that I think would make for a perfect knife. This is a Work Tuff Gear Carnivore. This is the Gen 2 Carnivore. This was it was obviously produced from Work Tuff Gear, and it was designed from Eric Outer of Outer Limitless. The purchase of the handle and the comfort of the handle and the handle material is uber important for me. It's obviously before I even go further, it's got to be a fixed blade. My perfect knife has to be a fixed blade, not a folder, not a slip joint, not a flipper. It's got to be a solid fixed blade. Purchase of the handle, being able to take a couple different handle grips is always appreciated, especially with a knife of this size, to be able to have that momentum to use it as a chopper or basically go in and having that finger choil to be able to do some fine work. Finger choil and handle, the comfort of the handle, the purchase of the handle, depending on how it's designed, is the most important factor, okay? Or at least the first factor in me choosing a perfect knife, because you could have Obtanium steel, the best steel on the planet, MagnaCut 3V, whatever you want to call it, whatever you feel like your best steel is, but if you don't have a comfortable purchase handle, or if this handle was maybe stopped here and you're like, struggling with to hold this long blade, it doesn't mean anything. The handle is uber important. That's going to be my checklist number one. Does it have a comfortable handle? Does it have different ways that I can hold it comfortably? And does it have good handle material that would handle the elements, being G10 or Micarta and stuff like that? That would be my first important point. Having good steel. Obviously, listen, the steel is in the maker. It's in the maker. Some steels can excel with certain companies. Certain companies handle steels extremely well. Produced from Work Tuff Gear and designed from Calvin Richardson. Excellent knife, great all-around knife. I did a review on all these knives. You can take a look at it on my channel. K329, excellent steel, great edge retention. It's gonna handle the elements. What's important about the knife, obviously it's gotta be sharp. The spine. It's got to have a good, healthy spine and a good reinforced tip. It's got to have some meat behind the edge that's going to handle knife things. It's going to handle being able to have that tip, to be able to be a piercing knife, to have that spine, to have some meat behind it, so it will handle the vigors of being a knife and using it outdoors. That will be probably my checklist. Number 2, it's got to have a good spine and a good reinforced tip, along with having some good steel. Honorable mention is Phobos knives. This is a Tier 1 BC. Phobos knives happen to be some of my best knives, my favorite knives out there. This being in MagnaCut, having MagnaCut or having 3V, having something that's weather resistant, corrosion resistant, that's going to handle the elements, is always a plus also in the steel department. Now the third checkpoint might be a split checkpoint, where it has to have good fit and finish. It doesn't have, I want it to have a good machined look. It's got to have no hot spots. It's got to be comfortable, and it's got to have nowhere where basically you're going to be holding the knife where it's going to be uncomfortable to hold because the fit and finish is not there. It's got to have also very good tight construction, so it's going to handle the vibrations of hitting it or it's cutting with it. It's not going to fall apart on you. So the fit and finish and the quality construction would make for a perfect knife for me. But along with that checkpoint, it's got to be sexy. I like a good looking knife, and this little evil designed from Zeke Minacho with that beautiful pommel there, that head skull crusher, cap crusher pommel. It's just curvature wise, it's such a sexy knife. It's a great fighting knife, but it's a great utilitarian knife. So the look of the knife, the fit and finish, and the craftsmanship would be my third checkpoint in terms of me choosing a perfect knife. So guys, really what it comes down to is your own personal preference as far as what you think a perfect knife is. Skill set is definitely something that surrounds it. You need to have a skill set in working with a knife. You can find a perfect knife, but your interpretation of a perfect knife also coincides with your skill set and your experience with a knife. If you don't have experience with a knife, and you haven't worked with a knife or used a knife, it's hard for you to depict the features of having a perfect knife. Guys, please leave in the comments, engage with me, let me know if anything that you feel would make a perfect knife for you, or anything you want to broaden up on. Engagement is great, and I would love to hear from you. Again, great video idea from Scab from Quality Boys Outdoors. This is Steel, the Steel Mindset, Joe Steel. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one, guys. Ciao.